It is Wednesday, August 6th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns, right here on All In Horns, presented to you by Rogue Sports Network. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson, and this is All In Horns. Today's episode, we are going to be discussing Sark's media availability is what we're going to call it. A little presser, post-practice presser with the media members who were in attendance, and he had a couple of comments about certain players that jumped out on the page to us. Jack Injury is one of the first guys named. Manny Muhammad's performance in practice over the last couple of days has been impressive. DJ Campbell back out there. But also just overall defense maybe dominating the offense a little bit.
Yeah, and he kind of talked about it, how, it's a zero-sum game typically in spring and fall. You're playing against yourself, essentially. And he even said it. Typically, the defense is ahead at this point. He said the defense is definitely ahead at this point. I think anyone with realistic expectations, who understands how camp works, who understands all the turnover at offense compared to last year, is not surprised by that. I would say, unless your just archetype is unrealistic and you're just expecting.
Which there's probably a fairly good amount of people that are.
There's people who are going to be a little shocked when I think that game one is probably a pretty low scoring slug of the game. And there'll be some ignorant statements after week one, even if Texas wins. If Arch doesn't, throw 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and no picks, which I don't think he will. But yeah, the defense, and it's not just Sark saying this, the practice reports that come from all the different various insiders that cover Texas is all, this defense looks as good, maybe at points better than last year's defense.
Well, think about the communication on this year's defense that was there last year, but they now have a year under their belt of playing with one another. Michael Taff on the back end, Anthony Hill at the middle linebacker position, kind of playing quarterback on the defense. The communication of those two guys alone, getting the secondary, getting the front seven together, identifying what the offense might be doing, identifying matchups and player motion and things like that. I mean, you got Manny Muhammad, who's a 3-year starter, 4-year starter. You've got Colin Simmons, who's coming back for his second year. Just the IQ on the defense and the experience of seeing and identifying football is going to be, I mean, it's top of the country.
Well, and let's take another step forward from that. We have everything you just said, right? We also have competition at every single level. You look at the D tackle group. Does it maybe have the Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton level of peak? We don't know yet. It could. It very well could. What we do know, I think for sure, is that this defensive tackle group is deeper than last year's defensive tackle group.
Yeah.
Maybe it probably as deep as 2 years ago, if not a little deeper, as far as they are going to run 3 deep. And Sark actually spoke on that, saying that we're not going to have any problem rotating. And we're not going to have any problem having guys tired at the defensive tackle position specifically. Let's jump out to edge. This is the most loaded edge group as a full group, in my opinion, that we've ever seen at Texas right now. You go to the linebacker group, one of the best linebacking groups in the country. You go to the secondary, that's where you did lose a lot of turnover production. When you look at Makuba and Jade Barron being gone, but you have Manny Muhammad, who I think is actually getting underrated by a lot of the fan base at this point, just because he maybe didn't have some great plays at the end of the year. He was still a very good player last year. He's on a contract year. I'd be shocked if he's not an All-American level player this year.
Yeah, and very, very likely to be valued at a first-round pick to early second rounder.
Yeah, I don't see him going past the second round unless he just has a terrible year, and I don't see that happening. Yeah. And then you have just the overall competition in the secondary. You have Gilbo, who could play corner, could play star. You got Kobe Black. You have Warren Robertson, who every report is saying looks great at corner right now. You have, some of the freshmen that are looking really good. Cade Phillips, obviously a Littleton that we've talked about a ton already. And then at safety, let's not forget, also Wardell Mack at the star position, competing right there. A guy who's been in the system for a year now. And then at safety, you got Taft, you got Williams, you got Jelani McDonald, who could also maybe play star, by the way. Talking about that flexibility, Taft could maybe play star. All the flexibility back between those safeties. But then that's not even starting to mention a name like an Xavier Filsaime, who's going to be really hard to keep off the field this year. A Jonah Williams, who is now practicing fully with the team. That as the year goes on, I don't imagine he's going to play much week 1. But as the year goes on, and depending how he plays against maybe those teams after Ohio State before Florida, you're going to probably have a hard time keeping him off the field. So you just have a ton of competition. And to me, that competition is going to lead, pressure makes diamonds. RG3 that said that or whatever. And I really do think this defense is going to be, I'm getting more and more sold, and I was already pretty sold on it, but more and more sold that this defense could be something really special. I don't know if they'll put up the numbers from last year, just because the schedule to me is a lot harder on paper, at least. But I think talent-wise, plays-wise, turnovers-wise, this defense can be just as good as last year.
And you mentioned all those names, Jake. You went down the whole roster and all the experience and what you and I just talked about. Sark did mention that the quarterbacks had a pretty rough day early on in the practice week. I don't know if it was Monday. I think it was Monday. Yeah. He says, we've been good, but as far as quarterbacks taking care of the football, but admits that Monday was not the best practice from several of the quarterbacks. Plenty of interceptions, plenty of turnovers. Again, you've got a first-year starter, redshirt sophomore, and Arch Manning, a redshirt sophomore who has not played a caliber of this defense, I don't think, in his entire career. And then you've also got a guy like Trey Owens, who's a true sophomore, as the backup. Now, you do have a transfer redshirt senior 6-year guy coming from Troy in
Matthew
Caldwell. But again, to this level, to this extent of talent that they've played against, I don't think they've seen anything like this. And so they're bound to have a bad practice. They just are. And in tomorrow's interview episode with Jason Minix, we talk about it a little bit at the NFL level. But sometimes these practice schedules and these practice, sometimes it's quarterback, you're making this read, and this is where you're going to throw the ball no matter what. They maybe not make that decision in a real game, but sometimes it's we're going to work on the post route. We're going to work on this. We're going to work on that. And they're just forcing the ball into this one area, and sometimes it ends up being intercepted, or sometimes it ends up being a better day for the defense. Sometimes it's a matter of those types of situational football practice sessions that the coaches force the quarterbacks to make those choices and throws, that it ends up looking bad on the quarterback, in those aspects.
And to your point, it was reported that Tuesday's practice was really focused on the run game and screens and tight ends. The wide receivers hardly touched the ball on Tuesday's practice. It was completely focused on screen game, getting the run game going, and all those different things. So like you said, in a point that will get brought up in tomorrow's interview, that's a really good point that I think a lot of fans don't think about whenever you read a practice report or you watch a scrimmage, is that typically, especially this early on, they're trying to build foundations, and building foundations.
They're implementing their entire playbook in what, Jake? 4 weeks, 5
and
weeks?
Yes, they learned the playbook in spring and over the summer, but still, when you're implementing it, also you're probably adding in wrinkles you've added through the summer, new plays, bringing freshmen who weren't there in spring up to speed, and then just starting to gel together, and starting to game plan for different types of defenses, things like that. You're going to focus on certain fundamentals any given day. And I imagine Sarkisian very much does that. Like taking a day. I mean, we all know Sarkisian is one of the best screen coach it, however you want to phrase this,
screen play caller, screen
tacticians.
Yeah.
In college football, I don't think many people would debate that. it's not a surprise that they're taking a whole day to focus on run game and screens, essentially. And that's how they get so good at running all those different screens.
Hey, we're going to give everybody an injury update here in just a little bit, but just want to remind everybody, we're 10 minutes into this episode. If you've made it this far, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Get alerts. And we come out with these episodes Monday through Friday at noon each and every single day. And so you'll get a little snippet of something Monday through Friday just to get your little fix of Texas Longhorn football. Come football season, we're actually going to be moving this show Tuesday through Saturday following every game day. Jake and I give our immediate reaction, good, bad, or ugly. So hit that subscribe button. All right, Jake, injury report. Some good news for DJ Campbell, back out on the practice field. Wingo probably tomorrow is the expectation. And then it was confirmed, unfortunately, Andre Kojo, the backup right tackle, out for the season.
Yeah. The Kojo one, we kind of already gone into that. It sucks for him too, because apparently he had really put in the work to improve a lot and be competing for that first offensive tackle position, but it's the nature of the game. It just happens. But on the good news front, DJ Campbell returning to practice is huge. DJ Campbell is right there. Him and Cole Hudson are the two names you just do not want to hear going down, especially before the season even starts. And then now a tackle. You really don't want to lose another tackle at this point, especially before the season even starts. I mean, that would be a bigger disaster than the running back situation last year, quite honestly. And Sarkisian had a funny point in that. They asked him about, you going to look in the portal for a tackle? And he said, look into a portal for a tackle at this point. He's like, I might as well go down to the co-op. I'll have more luck with that, which shots fired at any offensive tackles in the transfer portal right now, by the way.
Just know if you're an offensive tackle currently in the portal, you're not going to Texas. I'm just letting you know that right now.
No, I'd say your chances of going to Texas, you may not want to go to Texas after those comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wingo, if you aren't in the know or reading various websites and watching various other podcasts, nothing to worry about. It sounds like it was a dehydration issue. And why would you risk someone like Wingo? And a lot of people go, well, him and Arch need to develop a connection. I don't know why people don't think about the fact that Arch practiced all last year. Wingo wasn't a starter last year.
They were both second team in practice.
That's not going to be an issue. We saw him and DeAndre Moore's connection last year in the games he played. I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is being healthy come week 1 in Columbus. Yes, you need to practice. There's plenty of practices left. There's only been a small handful of padded practices to this point. You need your stars healthy, or guess what? A hurt Wingo not playing in week 1 is going to hurt you a hell of a lot more than him missing a few practices early on in camp.
And their chemistry together between quarterback and wide receiver.
It'll be just fine.
Yeah. Officially not worried on this podcast. Just letting everybody know. All right, Jake. Any other notes that you want to mention from what we've read and what has been reported?
Yeah, one last thing, and you kind of hinted at this earlier or briefly mentioned it, but Manny Muhammad looking really good in practices, has multiple, and this is, I think, the thing fans will really like to hear, multiple interceptions just on Monday and Tuesday, because that is the big complaint, I think, with him, is he always feels to be in position. He never seems to come down with the ball. And sometimes that results in the opposing player making a freakish catch. Then it looks like it's his fault, and he kind of gets the blame for it, right? If he can start getting those interceptions, kind of have a breakthrough when it comes to turnovers, I feel like one could lead to many. Because you feel like the dam is ready to burst, because it's not like he's a player who hasn't been in position to make a play on the ball. You feel like in a contract year, he's only had one interception. I believe that was against Texas Tech in that 57-7 finale that they played.
Two picks in his career.
I believe it's just one. I'm pretty certain on this. We're gonna have to do a live fact check.
Yeah, I'll look it up. You continue talking, and I'll look it up.
But if he can just get one, I feel like in the early season, maybe against Ohio State, how great would that be? I feel like 4 or 5 could follow, because you feel like he's not going to end his career as a Texas Longhorn with only 2 or 3 picks total. Well, if I'm right, and he only has one to this point, surely they're going to come in bunches this year. And I think that's what the staff is hoping for. And I think that's what's hopefully starting to show in practice. Were you able to pull that up?
One interception, one career
What,
pick.
was it against Tech? Are you able to see that? Just see if I'm just the full genius. I mean, we know I am, but let maybe confirm it.
His interception was against Texas Tech his freshman year.
Yeah. I know my stuff here. I can't remember what my wife tells me to do 5 minutes ago. She can confirm that.
Yeah.
But who intercepted a ball in a 57-7 game 2 years ago? That's right here in the tank.
Unlock.
I don't have room to remember chores my wife asked me to do whenever I can remember a bunch of pointless football facts.
Yeah, 100. Hey, dude, I'm right there with you, man. I like, you didn't tell me what your entire work schedule and what the entire week looked like for us. So that's why I'm asking each and every single day it happens. But in 2002, I can tell you that Mike Allstott ran for a 40-yard touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes remaining left in the game. I can tell you that, though. So.
I can get out a notepad and fill all 100 pages of the notepad front and back with a bunch of random players you have played in the NFL and college football. I can do that all day.
Yeah.
You told me to do the dishes yesterday. I don't remember that.
I don't think you ever told me that. I think you're just
I cannot recall.
Yeah. But no, reports, take it with a grain of salt. Either the offense looks okay and the defense looks fantastic, or the offense looks great and then the defense looks okay. So you're playing against yourself. It's a catch-22 situation for fall camp. But the good news is that Texas has been, we haven't even mentioned this on today's show, Jake, number one in the coaches poll. And so they obviously have the respect of the entire country. And it will be, at least according to the coaches poll. Now, the media and TV rights will go to the AP poll whenever that is released of what the number one and number two matchup will look like week one. But according to the coaches poll, for the first time in college football history, week one will be against number one Texas versus number two Ohio State.
Can't get here fast enough. It really can't. That's going to be, I'm glad, I know Ohio State fan. I'm glad it's an early kickoff purely so we can just get going right away. If it was week 2, I think I'd want it to be a night game. Though granted, I'm glad it's not, just because also Texas on the road. I want it to be, it's not going to be easy for them. It's still 110,000 screaming fans.
Here's the thing too. If you don't think that Ohio State Buckeye fans are going to be getting up at 6 a.m. to start drinking and tailgating, then you're wrong. You're just wrong. Like, they're going to get up. They're going to go to college game day. Before the sun even comes up, you're going to have about 15 frat boys puking their guts out, puking, rallying, playing beer pong right behind Lee Corso's head for college game day. So, like, yeah, it's still going to be a wild environment. It's just going to be at noon and not at 8 o'clock.
And flipping off Dave Portnoy for big noon kickoffs, and he's a Michigan guy. That's going to create a little bit of a scene. I mean, it's going to be.
He's gonna rile up the crowd.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a scene to remember for a week 1 game, especially. And by the way, a great week 1 slate. There's some sleeper games in there too. Auburn Baylor is a really interesting game. I can't wait until we do a week 1 preview. Because we're going to have to do a whole episode, and maybe we do it before Ohio State game week, where we just break down all the awesome matchups that are in week 1. Because it's not just one, there's several really exciting or at least intriguing matchups week 1 this year.
Clemson LSU is going to be a great game right now. I mean, that's slated, according to the coaches poll, a top 10 matchup. I think it's like number 6 versus number 9 or something like that. So, we've got a great slate of games coming up week 1, which we typically don't get. But I think even like week 2, I think there's actually quite a bit of non-conference games throughout the non-conference season, the first 4 weeks of the year, where we don't really get that lull of just no good games where it's just Alabama versus ITT Tech.
Week 2. How about Baylor, by the way? Week 2, SMU for Baylor. They open up Auburn, SMU. That's scheduling.
That's a big schedule.
That's a big
Hey,
schedule
you
for
got to
Baylor.
whenever when your conference. Hey, when your conference is weaker, you're going to have to rely on the non-conference schedule to boost your team's chances of getting an at-large bid if you don't win your conference.
Then they have Arizona State week 4. They're home against Auburn, at SMU, then Samford in between. I forgive that whenever you have Auburn and SMU, and then you have Arizona State at home. You're gonna know who Baylor is by week 4, and a lot of people are high on Baylor, so that's a fun one. You got kind of I think an under the radar game. I know we're going into week 2, but it's football. Illinois Duke. That's a fun matchup week 2. Illinois is going to be a top 10, top 15 team.
Dude, I would kill for Illinois Duke on my TV right now.
I would do some unspeakable things to watch that game right now.
Yeah.
Kansas, Missouri, week 2, that rivalry coming back. I mean,
I love that.
I think some of the early slates of games, Oklahoma State, Oregon, week 2, Oklahoma State probably not gonna be that good. Still kind of a cool matchup just when you look at it from a program perspective. For me, it's hard not to be ridiculously excited looking at some of these matchups, just because I think last year there weren't as many fun early season matchups as a whole. I feel like this year, looking at the schedule, there's more. I could be wrong, but it just feels that way.
Here's my thing, Jake. I think college football is as wide open as it's ever been. I think I said it last year, but I think this year even more so maybe than last year. Your top 25 could honestly be a top 35. There's going to be so much moving and grooving within the first 4 weeks of what the top 25 looks like. Because there's some borderline teams that should probably be pushing as a top 25 team that aren't going to be ranked. And then you're going to get some teams that are, lower ranked in the 20s and 15s and 20s that are going to lose a couple games. But they're still going to be good programs, good teams, just because they're playing a tough schedule this year. It seems like it's more up in the air this year. Like if you and I gave our top 12, our college football playoff prediction tomorrow, I guarantee you we would probably have 7 to 8 different teams than each other,
and probably only get 4 or 5 right at most. And it was wide open last year. Ohio State winning was not the expected outcome going into the playoff whatsoever.
Not in the playoff, but yeah.
They lost to now preseason, but I don't think anyone thought of them as the favorite really at any point in the season after they started playing football, and especially after losing to Michigan in the final regular season game of the year. I think it's completely wide open this year. Also,
Ryan Day was like, maybe I should throw it to Jeremiah Smith. That seems like a decent idea to do.
He seems like he's a good player. I should get him. Hopefully he forgets to get him the ball week 1. I would love that, which, by the way, I kept scrolling down. Didn't even mention week 2, Michigan at Oklahoma, Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech, night game, Enter Sandman night game.
Nice.
That's also Tech. Vanderbilt, not a laughing stock now. Diego Pavia going on a media tirade.
That was summer. That was a wild moment.
Not smart to do when you play for Vanderbilt. But regardless, it creates more hype for that game. I couldn't be more excited to get this thing going. I keep my Instagram right now on the reels. It's just college football hype video, college football hype video, college football hype video, Texas hype video. It's all football right now, and it just has me buzzing.
Yeah. All right, Jake, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode. And remember, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. We're trying to get to 800 before that August 30th kickoff in Columbus. And so if you can help us get there, if you're following us and you're subscribing to us, send us to a friend, share us to somebody else who might enjoy this kind of content as we go into the regular season. We're really looking forward to it. So for Jake Jimerson, I'm Tanner Carlson. This has been your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns right here on All In Horns. As always, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.